says he will not resign and asks that people let the investigations run their course. President Biden agrees.
Do you think Governor Andrew Cuomo should resign? I think the investigation is underway and we should see what it brings us.
You heard the president right there. He wants caution, but New York's 2 senators are among the fellow Democrats who say enough.
It's clear that Governor Cuomo has lost the confidence of his governing partners as well as the people of New York. That's why I believe that the governor has to resign.
There are multiple serious, credible allegations of abuse, so that Governor Cuomo has lost the confidence of his governing partners and of so many New Yorkers. So for the good of the state, he should resign.
CNN's Caitlin Collins is back with us and joining the conversation. Anna Grunewald, she's co-author of Politico's New York Playbook. Anna, let me start with you. And you raised an interesting question in a tweet today, so I want to read it and see if we have an answer. An interesting question about this moment in Albany that many are grappling with. Is momentum based in starting to believe women, or rather disliking Andrew Cuomo? Do we know the answer, or is that what reporters like yourself are trying to sort out?
I think those who have been in Albany, either reporting or in the Capitol making policy for a number of years, are not necessarily surprised about this culture that's being reported. These are things that have been known for a while about Albany in general. But even a couple years ago, there was a big push to really to change the law, to change the interactions between women and the men in power who dominate the space. And those started pretty strong, but they never got this much snowballing momentum. And now there's less pushback if someone wants to agree and move forward with these sort of allegations, because a lot of people have a lot of axes to grind against Cuomo over the past 10 years.
Well, interesting to watch it plays out. It's an excellent point. And Caitlin Collins, to the national conversation, you heard the president last night saying, let's just run its course. The investigations are out there. You know, he's the president of the United States. He's going to get asked these questions because Cuomo's such a prominent Democrat, also chairman of the National Governors Association. If you go back in time, Vice President Harris is on the road this week. She's going to likely do some local interviews. It'll be interesting to see what she says about this, because if we go back in time, this is Senator Kamala Harris. Back in 2017, sexual harassment and misconduct should not be allowed by anyone and should not occur anywhere. I believe the best thing for Senator Franken to do is to step down. That would be a good question for the vice president. What does she think now?
And Franken was accused of far less and stepped down ultimately. I think this has been a big question even inside the White House of whether or not the vice president would have this position where she has not really weighed in if she was still on Capitol Hill. And so, of course, I think the nature of being vice president is you do not want to get ahead of the president. We heard what President Biden said yesterday. He did not call for him to resign, and instead called for the investigation to play out. And so I think that's a big factor. But she is likely going to be asked about it. I think her staff is aware that that's going to happen. She's out on the road. She's in earshot of reporters. This is going to be something that faces not just her, but also the White House, depending on the trajectory of this week for Governor Cuomo. And so I think it's notable that you have all of these senators and Democrats, high-ranking ones, calling for him to step down. But notably, we do not have President Biden yet. We do not have House Speaker Pelosi either calling for him to step down. Instead, they've pointed to the investigation being conducted. And so whether or not that maintains and that stays is another question. Because, of course, if President Biden were to call for him to step down, that would really change the trajectory of this, I think.
As the president of the United States, the leader of the Democratic Party, that would be a big deal. So, Anna Grunewald, back to that culture you talked about, because every governor wants to be feared. But there's a line between sort of legitimate political fear and power and abusing that power in the use of it. And the report in the Washington Post today about Larry Schwartz, New York's vaccine czar, longtime advisor to Governor Andrew Cuomo,